Welcome to the next edition of Torah Insights. Torah Insights, real life Torah Insights. And we'll learn this week's parsha, this week's Torah portion is Parshas Truma. We learn about the special and awesome commandment and special act that the Jewish people had the ability to do was to make a home for Hashem on this world. Which means each of us know that our homes represent us. Our homes is a place where we feel very comfortable. As we just heard before, there are certain clothes people wear at home, certain clothes people wear, right, when they go out. Why is there such a concept of clothes that we wear at home and clothes we wear outside? Because at home, we're more comfortable, we feel comfortable, more casual. It's where we express ourselves. We don't necessarily feel the need to impress and to act a certain way. As opposed to when we are outside, there's a certain sense, I need to, how people are going to look at me, how am I going to be dressed, what impression I'm going to be making. We're caring more about what's going on for other people, and of course, we also are outside, also we're looking about ourselves, but in a way, there's a certain sense of taking more into account what other people are, as opposed to our homes. We have that people is a place that we feel full comfortable to express ourselves. We feel that our homes express us, and that's why people decorate their homes in a certain way. Their homes need to have certain things in them in order to be comfortable there. Why? What is the difference? If it's this painting or that painting, does it really make a big difference? But the answer is a home. People want that you see, I feel comfortable in this place. This place represents me, and therefore people are very, very careful of what they are in the homes. And you'll see people are so comfortable that while I don't encourage this, there are some people who will walk around naked in their home. So comfortable that they are, because their home expresses them, right? Their home expresses them. So which means that the concept of our home is a place where we're fully expressed. We're fully comfortable. When Hashem, God commanded the Jewish people to make a mikdash, to make a temple, to make a tabernacle, a place where God could call home, it means that it's a place where God should feel comfortable. It's a place when we say it should be fully comfortable, it's dedicated for Hashem. It's dedicated for God. And therefore that is the home that the Jewish people were commanded to make, and therefore everything there was very specific. It should be made a certain way, should be made a certain way, and each one had a special significance of how that is connected with Hashem, that's connected with God, and how to go.
Beit HaMikdash is it's God's home.
It's God's home.
It's God's home.
And therefore God's also presence is more revealed there than in other places. Right? Just like in our home, we're more revealed there in a certain sense. We're more comfortable there. Our deeper essence gets expressed there more than in other places. So too, Hashem, when he in his home, in the Beit HaMikdash, or as we discussed in the Mishkan, the tabernacle, which was the movable home, that was a place where God was expressed. Now, over there, we have the concept of, when it came to building the Mishkan, building this tabernacle, how did they come and do it? How did they come and build it? What was the first thing that they needed to do?
Get the materials?
Get the materials.
Make sure place pure. Pure in sense of what is there. I don't know, make sure there's no grave underneath, no, because I know many times in Israel there's places say, cannot do this, you cannot do that because there's something underneath. I remember it's very famous in Israel when the Haredim go and block roads because they say you cannot build anything here because
there was graves underneath.
Or something, make sure that the place is suitable, the land, the piece of where they build it, it's suitable for building.
Very good. So we need the location needs to be suitable.
Yeah.
Very, very good. The location needs to be suitable. We said, which is very good. The problem of graves was not such a problem because they were in the middle of the desert. So there was not a civilization then when the Jewish people were building in the desert then.
Yeah.
But then also, as Dekel said, they need the materials.
Yeah, but think about even these days when they're waiting for the building of. I'm more looking these days than then, but because we hope that one day it will be
Bezat
revealed.
Hashem, 100%. Very good. Very good. So when it comes to that, when it comes to the building, we have so they needed the materials. Right? Then we needed the material. So this week's Torah portion starts off with the building, the collection of the materials that they needed for the Beit HaMikdash. That's how it starts off. And Georgina, if I can ask, would you be okay to read the first paragraph of this page in English? Source 1. In English, where we're going to discuss about what they were commanded to bring.
God spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and have them bring me an offering. Take my offering from everyone whose heart impels him to give. This is the offering you should take from them: gold, silver, copper, greenish blue wool, dark red wool, crimson wool, fine linen and goat's hair, red dyed ram skin, tachash skins, and acacia wood, oil and the sweet smelling incense, and sardonyxes. How do you pronounce that?
I'm not sure.
Sardonyxes.
We'll have to find out. We'll figure this out afterwards. Yes.
And other precious stones for the ephod and breastplate. They shall make me a sanctuary, and I will dwell among them.
Okay, so
ephod is when they have the choshen, does it call that?
So
they have the stones.
the ephod was actually like a skirt that the high priest would wear.
The what? Sorry, the what?
The ephod, which it comes out to be what's it called? For the ephod and the breastplate. He said the precious stones were for the ephod and the breastplate. So the ephod was like a skirt, like in the front, and then it actually had it had straps that came, and that's the choshen, the breastplate hung from the ephod.
With the stones,
with the different stones that were actually had from all the different tribes were engraved there, and also you had on the straps of the ephod, you had also a setting with also had a stone, a precious stone.
And what is tachash?
So tachash was it says, Rashi says, it's the reason why there's no translations. Georgina didn't translate
tachash
that.
Tachash is kind of dog, but in Hebrew, but it's not the meaning, of course.
But it says tachash. There was an animal that was created, purpose-pronged animal that God created. It was a very colorful skinned animal, and after the Mishkan the tabernacle was built, it disappeared. I guess they were what's it called? They were not, it was not needed anymore.
Kelev tachash. It's I think it's the sausage dog.
It's
called Beivrit the tachash.
Oh really? Okay. So they definitely used that term, and they got it. And this is where you know where it comes from. But we don't. Meaning to say is we don't know what animal that is. There is no equivalent animal of that today.
So wait, these are the things that he asked to if you're going to bring a gift. These are the things that you bring in order for me to build a home.
So the thing is, we need God's commanding him. We should build a home.
Yeah.
Okay, and these are the things that you should bring in order to build a home.
All right.
So this is the things where people, when it comes to everyone who would like to be a part of building this home. These are the things that we're going to need in building this home.
Yeah.
Gold.
And yes, and actually the gold, it says the Medrash tells us that the whole reason God created gold to begin with was in order for the Mishkan and for the tabernacle and the temple. That's why gold was actually brought into the world. The byproduct is we also have some gold for ourselves, but the whole purpose of it is for the person to beautify things of God, and that's why when it came to the building of Mishkan, the thing is between gold and silver and each one of these things, and each one has a specific purpose that it was that they had. Now, Rashi asks a good question. Rashi asks a question. All the questions Rashi asks is good. But here's a very, very simple question. Rashi asks, there are other things that the Jewish people had that you would have expected them to have. So for example, you had gold and silver and the different wools, the different things. The reason why they expected them to have was when the Jews left Egypt, they took with them a lot of gold and silver and animals, and they had a huge entourage. They had a lot of wealth that they took with them. But the question Rashi asks is, the acacia wood. Where did they get acacia wood from? So Karmit, why don't you read the next one where it says Rashi?
אוקיי. ועצי שתים, ומאין היו להם במדבר, פירש רבי תנחומה. יעקב אבינו צפה ברוח הקודש שעתידין ישראל לבנות משכן במדבר, והביא ארזים למצרים ונטעם, וציווה לבניו לתלם עמהם כשיצאו ממצרים. של התותינים, או... Like, they actually planted them, and then...
So what does Rashi say? That Yaakov Avinu foresaw that the Jewish people will eventually need acacia wood, atzei shitim, when they go and build the Beit Hamikdash.
זה שיטה? זה עץ שיטה? עץ באנגלית זה עץ שיטה.
Yes.
יש הרבה כאלה בישראל.
So therefore, when he came, since they didn't have that in Egypt, when they left, when he saw they're going to need it, so he brought from Eretz Yisrael, from the land of Israel, he brings the acacia wood, plants them in Egypt, so eventually they will have it when they leave, and they will be able to build them.
It's מאוד עתיק. It's מאוד עתיק.
So
very ancient.
So he supplanted wood from Israel in order to bring it into to bring it when they went to leave Egypt.
Okay.
And the question is the following. This is the question. Why did Yaakov need to go and make such efforts to go and take wood from Israel, plant it in Egypt, because eventually, hundreds of years later, the Jewish people would need it when they left Egypt and they were building the Mishkan.
It's something that prophet can do, but Yaakov, he wasn't prophet, הוא לא היה נביא.
So it said Yaakov did foresee. He did have the he was able to foresaw that this will happen.
Okay.
But the question is, why does he need to do that? They could have bought it.
Okay.
They could have bought it. It wasn't like it was impossible to get. It wasn't like you have to actually, why schlep? Why make the whole trip and make the whole thing of bringing, you don't have enough when Jewish people when Jewish people are traveling, they pack a lot, right? You have to have all the different things that you're packing with.
Yeah.
You got to pack the wood too. I'm saying that was the thing that Yaakov had to have. They couldn't eventually find it. Why do we find that Yaakov took the acacia wood all the way from Israel to bring it into Egypt, and then eventually to bring it out, to eventually the Jews should have it. Why should they? Why didn't they give them the opportunity to buy it later? It would have been the same stuff.
Well, I can speak from my own experience from renovating my flat.
Okay.
That there's such a sense of satisfaction and joy of having built your own place. I mean, I didn't grow the trees and cut down and chop the wood or the bricks to put it together, but I partook in the building of it, and now I benefit more.
Yeah, but equally,
So what you're saying is
appreciate it more.
What you're saying is that when a person invests more into something, therefore there's an appreciation they have more into it.
So Rabbi, but I might not understand it properly. So they needed the wood in Israel. So why not to plant it in Israel, and then when they come to Israel, the wood would be already there?
Because right now they didn't come back to Israel yet. Now they were in the desert. Okay. The Jewish people had left Egypt.
Okay, but
they left Egypt. They are now been commanded in the desert to build a Mishkan.
Okay. Not for Beit HaMikdash.
Not Beit HaMikdash.
Okay.
Beit HaMikdash, the temple was built with stones, wasn't built with wood.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Now we're talking about in the desert they were commanded to build a mishkan, to build a home that would travel with them. God's home that would travel, a portable home for God wherever they went. And that took one. And that was made, the structure was made out of wood.
Okay, now it's clear. Okay, thank you.
So so the question is, so in order for them to have that wood, Yaakov Avinu, Jacob took wood from Israel, brought it to Egypt, planted it there, so eventually when the Jews left, they should be able to take it with them.
I also have another reason why they would not purchase it, is that if you buy it from somebody, potentially if you have enemies against you, if they want to destroy you, they may know who you are and where to find you. So you're better off just building your own roots and not relying on anyone else that could take that away.
Being self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Being self-sufficient. So what you're saying is in order that they shouldn't, the orders that they shouldn't have any issues later on, they already had it with them.
Yeah.
It's an interesting answer. Very interesting answer.
But maybe it's because it should be planted by Jews. When you open Kiddush wine, it should be opened by Jewish person, or maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe it's given any benefit.
Also, not to feel like you owe anybody anything.
Well, when you buy it, you're buying it from them.
But maybe they have money to save them the expense.
Money they had plenty. They had that. They came out with tremendous amount of riches.
Don't have any more answers.
Okay. So I think that people suggested what's called answers, investment. But I want to take it a little bit of a very fascinating answer. But I want to preface that and ask the following point. If I asked you in your life, what is driving you? Which one is the cause of make you or driving in things in your life? Would you say that you think a certain way, you have certain ideals, certain priorities, and then those things drive the actions of your life? Or would you say that practically you just do and act, and that we're just running life as that way?
It's a combination of the two.
Yeah, I think for me, the first things, but I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's survival.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I don't have anyone else to rely on, so my first driving force is I have to survive.
Okay. So which means is you have a driving, you have intention, you have thought, and that causes you to act a certain way, right?
I think it's stages in life. When I wasn't married, when I didn't have Braden, it was different. Now my son is my first priority. If I think something beneficial or good for him, I'll make it the effort. Coming to bar mitzvah classes, going on, but it's for his benefit. So that's driving me, to target, to this kind of thing. So it does drive me. But I think it's stages in life. So,
but I also think ultimately happiness. Ultimately, I feel like I strive to be happy.
Strive to be happy.
I mean, there's a top. It's like I want to be happy, but I also need to live. So, in order to live, sometimes you can't be that happy having to work all the hours.
Right.
And there's a sense of satisfaction, but yeah.
But it's different.
Understood. So what you're saying,
because we overtaking the conversation, so
I'm happy to listen.
so basically, what we're saying is there's different things that you're saying is driving you, or driving all of us for what we're doing. But if I ask you, let me take another step further. What if when it comes to doing an action, doing something, would you say when you want to go and let me ask. I'll ask Dekel. Dekel takes a lot of videos. He showed me before. He takes videos of football matches, of the goals, and he posts them afterwards on Twitter, and the people enjoy that. Right? That's what he does, and he spends time doing that. Now, do you have a like for football?
Fairly, yeah.
Is that your drive to take the videos of the football matches? I don't want to get too what's it called?
Not really. I mean, I heard that people like them. I heard the player like them, and I want the players to be happy. So, because the first one I took was by accident, and they said, "Oh, they put it on Twitter," and then I heard that they really like it and they really enjoyed it. So I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna, try and catch more of them." Which, because of that, I can't really see the game, but I don't mind because they're happy.
So, which meaning to say is, what's driving you now to do it? What did the logic come first, or the action came first, and then you brought about the logic?
I think the action came, and then for me, because I just did it, and then kind of. Yeah, in this particular case.
In this particular case, the action came first, and then came the logic of why you're doing it and how the importance of doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say I think we have this constant debate of what meaning to say is it the logic, the feeling for why we're doing something, and that's what drives us to act a certain way, or we start doing something, and then we appreciate of what.
The
chicken. What comes first? But more important, and when it comes to being a good person, doing good deeds, the question is the following: what should I work on first?
Working God.
Work on being, of course, doing it for God. But should I work on being a good person on the inside, and then eventually I'll come to do good actions?
No, because what you were saying on the weekend was, you have to kind of assume the role, and then you have to fake it to make it. But not that you're faking being good, but the principle's the same, isn't it?
It's like you say, it's not mitzvah to love, but it's mitzvah to lechabed. So love is from the inside, lechabed is more from the outside.
So my question is very good. I'm glad that everyone was listening on Shabbat. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. But I want to focus on is of course you have the developing an emotion. It definitely comes from first. That comes with time. My question is what do you work on first? You work on developing the emotion first towards something. When you see a poor person, and you know that the person needs to be helped, should you think I should develop to help them, or first of all you should do the action first? And then not. Why? Why not? I would say, in a way, the intention of what our minds is what drives us. As you mentioned, you have a certain survival thing. That's what drives you to go and get things done. Without that,
if you're a good
wouldn't get things done.
person, you would naturally just want to give without even thinking about it.
But what if you're not holding there yet?
But it's the urgency, because if someone needs it now, we need to have, not first we need to become attached to him and care or whatever and then help him. It's now. And something like SOS, it's urgent. So if depends how you are, as you said, if you're a good person, you see the importance of helping and you help. Some people don't, unfortunately, those people don't care about people who they have no feelings for. But if I see someone on the street need help, no question, I'll go and help him. Not even knowing his name, let alone any emotions.
Right.
But I have emotion because he's a human being.
Right.
But does
So,
that, sorry, I was going to say, does that mean the person that doesn't just help them, like innately just wants to just help without thinking, does that make them a bad person?
so this is the question is what is it? What is our first? What should come first in our life? Is it that we should first focus on getting as many good actions done, even we're not necessarily feeling up to it on the inside, or we should better work on our insides, work on ourselves, and by then the actions, as you said, will just come automatically.
I would say first you do, because if you start to think, you can think forever, and you can just think and shall I, and that in my case can take a long
Sometimes thinking
time.
too much is not
And I
good.
think that the Torah always tell us to do.
Yeah.
You have to do
Yeah.
an action, and even Hashem, he did. He then regretted, but he did. He changed. But I think we always have to do. And in this parasha as well, because the creation it's only few psukim in the Torah, but in Truma when they make the Mishkan, it's a lot of. So I think that kind of tells us
Yeah.
that Hashem is expecting for, there's a lot of importance of what we're doing. There is so much, I think.
The action, like
it
you
means
said,
a lot.
to love is not mitzvah. Even our parents, of course, we love them, but it's not mitzvah to love them. It's mitzvah to treat them well, to action, to treat
Right.
with action.
So this is the question: is why does the Torah focus so much on action? So I wanna everyone, and very much connected to what everyone was saying. Beautiful. Speak about what we're saying in the Sefer HaChinuch. In Sefer HaChinuch, which is Sefer HaChinuch, is a book that goes through all the 613 mitzvot, all the 613 commandments, and goes through each one, explains where do we find the source of the Torah, gives an explanation or tries to give explanation as much as it can to understand why did God give this mitzvah, and then gives some laws connected with it. Okay? Now, in the mitzvah of, one of the mitzvahs that's connected to the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice of going out of the Pesach, he explains about the whole purpose of the Korban Pesach is to go and experience freedom. Experience that we should expel, that we're being free from Egypt, and remember that moment.
You hear that in Pesach there was a few settlers. They're not supposed to go to Har Bayit and to do their shlichting with korban and the העלו korban בהר הבית.
On Har Bayit.
Yeah, בפסח
Okay.
האחרון.
Okay?
Amazing. I thought that amazing.
So it says like this. So we're on this page over here.
All right. Yeah, sure.
It says like this. So maybe you want to Declan, you want to read in, what would you like, in Hebrew or in
I
English?
don't mind.
Maybe do it in English.
Okay. My son, do not think to pounce upon my words and say, why would God, may he be blessed, command us to do all these commandments to commemorate the miracle? Would we not remember it with one commemoration, such that it not be forgotten from the mouth of our offspring? You must know that it is not from wisdom that you would question me about this, and it is your youthful thoughts that lead you to this. And now, my son, if you have understanding, incline your ear and hear, and I will teach you the benefits from the Torah and the commandments. You must know that a man is acted upon according to his action, and his heart and all his thoughts always follow after the actions that he does, whether good or bad. And even he who in his heart is a complete sinner, and all the desires of his heart are only for evil, if his spirit shall be enlightened, and he will put his efforts and actions to persist in Torah and commandments, even if not for the sake of heaven, he shall immediately incline towards the good. And from that which is not for its own sake comes that which is for its own sake, as opposed to being for personal gain. For the hearts are drawn after the actions, and even if a man is perfectly righteous and his heart is straight and innocent, desiring of Torah and the commandments, if he shall constantly deal with improper things, you could compare it to someone who was forced by the king to work a wicked craft. If he constantly work in that wicked craft, eventually from his righteousness he shall have become completely evil. For it is known and true that every man is acted upon according to his actions, as we have said. And the sages, may their memory be blessed, said about this, Makot 23b, God wanted to grant merits to Israel, therefore he gave them many laws and commandments to occupy all of our thoughts and all of our deeds, to benefit us at our end, i.e. in the world to come, because from the good actions we are acted upon to be good and merit eternal life. And the sages hinted at this, Minchot 43b, with their statement that anyone who has mezuzah on his door, tzitzit on his garment, and tefillin on his head is promised that he shall not sin, for these are constant commandments, and so he is constantly acted upon by them.
Okay, very good. And Georgina, maybe the next paragraph.
Therefore, surely observe what you choose to be your craft and your dealings, since you will be pulled by them and you will not pull them. And do not let your evil impulse assure you by saying, since my heart is complete and pure in the faith of God, what loss is there if I periodically enjoy the pleasures of men in the markets and the plazas? To joke with the jokers and to speak finely, and similarly to perform those things for which one needs not bring up guilt offerings and sin offerings. Do I not have a heart like them? My small finger is thicker than their loins. And how would they pull me behind them? Do not say this, my son, guard yourself from them, lest you be trapped in their snare. Many have drunk the cup of poison due to this, but you should save your soul. And once you know this, the multitude of commandments about the matter of remembering the miracles of Egypt will no longer be a challenge to you, as they are a great pillar in our Torah, since by greatly engaging in them, you will be acted upon by the matter, as we have said.
So basically what we're saying is, in short, that when it comes to our actions have a tremendous, powerful effect on who we are. When a person, no matter what's going on the inside, when a person does a good deed, they not only have acted good, but also have changed their inside to become better. And the same idea is also, lahavdil, something does something bad. If we do something bad, not only did we do an act which is not good, but we've changed ourselves also on the inside, that we're also a bit more negative. Also have that negativity within us. And though we could be the purest of people, if we constantly do acts which are negative, if someone becomes a mafia enforcer and constantly needs to terrorize people, though the person is the sweetest person, and you want to speak to them, they'll be a wonderful person to speak to, eventually that person also become more and more evil and more like a mafionaire.
Speaking a lot in Israel, there's the case that lots of say evil people in Israel have kippah on the head, but you're doing such an evil thing, and suddenly for mercy whatever they put kippah, but still acting. I know I saw we in Israel see it live what you're talking about, how the contradiction between action and how it affects the person.
How it affects it, and that will be each action that you do brings you worse, as opposed to even someone who is maybe on the inside really always a scheming person, always is a really negative person. If they constantly are doing good things, that there's the action that they do is good, but also
From the inside.
that also has an effect on them, that it changes them from the inside, that they eventually become good things. And that's why the Torah always focuses on action.
So what about if you get somebody who does bad things, but they're good on the inside, and then there's someone saying, then you meet people that have sympathy for those people. They go, but I can see that they've got good in them, and they kind of enable them, I guess, in some ways. What does that make them? The people that look deeper into that. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make them a bad person for trying to see the good in somebody that's behaving badly?
So I don't think that to be able to see deeper and sometimes see potential with someone is not a negative thing. To justify what the person does, that's a problem. But to be able to see potential and to see how the person has growth and eventually be able to get out of it, I think it's very positive to be able to see past what the person is doing. But the person who does it, though they have good on the inside, each time they're doing something negative, that's also, it's not just, the one hand they've done harm, they've done something negative, but also they're damaging their quote unquote good inside.
So what we say about people, I guess like me, I take myself as an example. I do many things which are against, I travel in Shabbat, but on the other hand, I do good deeds. So how does it go with it? I'm not that person at all. But in Judaism, obviously, you need to do the mitzvot. You need to do. But on the other, you have the schar mitzvah, the schar avera. Because is it? I will even if it's not good, I will not change to be a nasty person. But in Judaism, is it all right? Because it's not. It's not. I have to do the whole mitzvot as much as possible. But how the Torah, how God, I don't know, sees someone who does good things and bad, or is it bad? But it depends what comes. Because is murder equal to someone who travel in Shabbat or light fire in Shabbat? I know it's extreme, light fire and murder. It's huge difference. But in the eyes of the religion, in the eyes of Judaism, is there degrees of sins, or are the degrees of sin? You know what I mean?
What you're asking is, if I'm asking the question is, how does God look at each act that a person does in regards to the negative
actions now. So, I volunteer with others. I'm trying to be a good person, not just for God, because I am like this and I'm happy to work God. But on the other hand, I do things which are, so to speak, against what Judaism say. I don't like fire. אני לא מדליקה אש בשבת. But I travel, I turn on the light, I speak on the phone in Shabbat. So is it bad as killing someone, or is all sins are the same in Judaism, or is there any way to lechaper על זה?
So I think your answer is not on one foot to discuss. I think it's more detailed.
Okay.
I think there's two aspects one person understands. We don't know how God looks at each act that we do.
Okay.
God, first of all, we have to know that God loves us tremendously, each of us in a tremendous way, as He loves their only child. And regardless, whatever we have, God has a special love towards us. You have to appreciate that.
Even
at the
though
same,
it allows some horrible things to
whatever happens,
Yeah.
God loves us. At the same time, I think it's important for us to recognize that if each, which might be different than a parent, but if one act you're slapping your parent across the face, on the other hand act you're making them one meal and giving them a hug.
Yeah.
One is great and one is not good.
Yeah.
Does one cancel out the other? No.
No, זה שכר מצווה, שכר עבירה, עבירה.
Correct. Which means to say is, we're not one. It's not to regards to equalize. The saying is, does one work out the other? That doesn't work that way. I'm not on one hand you smack your parent.
Yeah.
On one hand what's it called? You're giving them a wonderful meal. So we look at each deed. The wonderful meal is a tremendous thing we've done, and unfortunately, the smacking the parent is a terrible thing we've done.
Okay, but it's not being or good or bad. It's still, even if we do bad things, it's all right to do good things.
The good things that we've done are tremendous good, and we have value.
Let's focus on the good.
And focus on the good.
Yeah.
And focus on the good. And on the contrary, to grow on the good. To grow on the good. And to move on the good. And to try to do each more to try to grow in the good that we're doing. And that each act of goodness that we do brings a tremendous value and tremendous blessing. God so much appreciates it.
Thank you.
And what we're saying is a part of each of us, our lives on this world is to bring this goodness. Each mitzvah we do, God says we should make ourselves a home for God. And now, by the time of the Mikdash, when they built it, it was one thing that they actually built it from a physical building. But you also have each of us, the Torah says, Va'asu li mikdash v'shechanti betocham, that God should make for me a temple, and I will dwell within. It should say
them.
It doesn't say within it.
Yeah.
It means within them. And our sages say v'shechanti betocham. It doesn't mean that God just dwells within that structure, but rather God dwells within each and every one of us. And each mitzvah that we do, when we dedicate ourselves for God, we bring God within ourselves as well. and God within the world. And it's important for each of us to work on each good deed that we do, increase with that, Georgina is saying, increase in growing on the good deeds, doing positive, moving with that, to bring God into every aspect of our lives.
But it's a bit in contrast. Since we Shabbat, I thought about it a lot. That we spoke about not expecting, לא לצפות, to do things not expecting. But like when we do good deeds and stuff, it was there, or it was last week. But I thought about it a lot, that we do things with no expectation, we do good deeds and not even hoping, not even to hope that it will return as a good thing. So you remember that we say we just...
We spoke about last week's class.
Yeah, last week, yeah. But, yes, and I thought about it a lot. Is it alright for me? Is it alright for me to hope for good things as a result for my good deeds? Is it alright? Is it greedy? Is it? I thought a lot about it, because obviously I'm sure all of us, because even one thing that the Messiah will come is doing the mitzvot to bring the Messiah, להביא את המשיח יותר מהר, as he's still expecting, even in a roundabout.
It's a bit different there, but okay.
Yeah,
yes.
but I just give an example. In a roundabout way, most actions, most deeds are, admitted or not, somewhere it's expectation for something to happen. Good,
Okay.
hopefully. I know that you said Messiah, it's something else, but still we're hoping. It's like not expecting, but expectation and hope, they could be different. Expecting is like something need to happen. Hoping it's hopefully one day it will come or whatever. So it's, I don't know, is it because we do things, to say, for example, Ilui Nishmat Avi, my cousin, just do mitzvot, it will help your father. So still expecting or hoping for something to happen, something good to happen as a result of my good actions.
Right.
So it is still for a reason. I do it anyway, but now, since my father passed away, I do it even extra for him. Like I'm trying, and obviously we all have our own lives, we all issues that we're hoping though. Let's tzedakah, to do, try to make someone happy. All this in just hoping, praying for God to help us. So that's why I think just praying for this bad situation in Israel. So pray and pray to God, do more good things for the situation to get better. So it is for doing this, obviously working God, but hoping that probably one of the results of our good actions will bring something good.
Right.
Personally or to the country.
So I think it's very important to recognize even what we're saying there is doing the action regardless of the intention is important.
Yeah.
Regardless of even if you're hoping that something good, something that you want like to come from it is important for us to do, regardless of our intentions. Because the good action that we're saying has a tremendous effect.
Yeah.
But part of our job is, and our work is, that we should move to do a good action, not, as we discussed last week, not only based on our benefit that we get, but more importantly, for just because that's what Hashem, God wants us to do.
Yeah, if I see someone on the street need help, I will not think, oh, just a second, if I do this, I will go, even if you tell you not, you will have no good, you personally will have no good benefit. If we had, I would still go and help the person because this is what God, I'm working God, and because I'm a good person, I will go and help, even if I have no benefits from it. So not every action is because I'm going to get something good.
So it's like your instinct to,
yeah, exactly.
to help the person on the street without thinking about what
beneficial,
exactly. But that's a byproduct of doing something good. Is potentially something what goes around comes around. Like,
yeah.
Well, I'm saying is what we're saying is more than that. Is we should do things. Forget the benefit we're getting. We should do things because it's good, because that's what Hashem wants, regardless of the outcome for it. That was a discussion, part of what we discussed last week. If that's part of our mission, that's part of our goal. That's part of why Hashem creates us in this world. That is why Hashem creates us in this world. So it's important for us to keep on doing the actions, keep on doing these things, and recognizing and growing with that, and recognizing that each action has an amazing and awesome effect, and also changes us. in a tremendously and positive way. Now, I think it's with this point in mind to recognize that it's specifically more than just the intention, or more, not just the feeling, but the action, the physical, the seeing something which has the greatest effect on the person. We could understand also a little bit deeper about why Yaakov Avinu, why Jacob specifically went and planted the acacia wood, the Atzi Shittim, and brought it from Egypt. I brought it from Israel, bring it to Egypt. So think about it this way. There was two ways when the Jewish people went into Egypt, they were told that they will eventually come, and there'll eventually come a time when they're going to be taken out of Egypt. They will be redeemed. It will be eventually a time when they were going to be taken out. Now, if you could only imagine, after being for 210 years in Egypt, it's very, very disheartening. You might be told about something and say that gotta believe that this is gonna happen, but it's very, very disheartening to actually see, and it could be your morale is very low of actually thinking, will this actually happen? Will this actually come about? Very easily for people to be disheartened. But therefore, Yaakov Avinu says, I want to not just that it should be something that they've told them that they will be eventually be taken out of Egypt, but rather there should be an action connected with that. What is the action? He planted acacia wood. They will see, they knew, and every time they would walk back past that wood, they would see, look, this wood, you know why we have this wood? Is because this wood is the eventual wood that we will use when they go out of Egypt and use in the Mishkan. Lechazek otam. But they needed a physical thing that they saw that will eventually, that they recognize that we're using this to take us out of Egypt. That physical reminder, that physical thing that brought it. And that is eventually that gave them the hope to be able to, that they'll eventually get out. That kept them going. That kept them driving them going. And therefore that's why Yaakov Avinu specifically made that effort to go and do that, to give them that hope, to give them that thing that they'll eventually get, that they'll eventually go and leave Egypt, and they'll eventually build the Beit HaMikdash. So therefore, each of us, in regards to our lives, it's important for us to be also find the importance of the action, as we said, the physical thing. We also have to recognize also people around us when we want to inspire others, especially when we want to be connected to others. There's two ways of doing it. There's one way of doing it, which is where we speak. I think it's a good thing to do. I think it's inspiring for you to do, and especially when if someone has children, tell them I think you should do this, important for us to do, and it could work. But the most important way of how to educate people, and the way to be able to make a difference that they also should try to emulate, not just listen and then goes in one ear, goes out the other ear, is to act. When people see something, you're doing something is important to you, and you keep on acting on that, they will also identify with that, and they'll try to emulate it as well. If you want someone in your life to be more Jewish, is when you act that way, they will also eventually do it. When they see you're constantly acting, not just saying, you can speak all day, but it's the actions that truly have that effect on our homes, on ourselves, and all around us.
Yeah, also set example, action. It's contagious. Like for Braden, when I speak with the elderly people who have spoken on the phone, I tell him, I'm not just telling him, do this. I show him acting, action, and be good, better Jewish, better person, and better Jewish.
Yeah. And then always, we all have to grow in our actions.
Yes.
Grow and do more. In regards to tzedakah, in regards to helping people, in regards to doing more mitzvot, and whatever we're holding in our lives.
Yes.
to grow with that, and to do more. Try to keep on growing more, bring more actions, bring more the light of Torah mitzvahs into our life, help make that difference of goodness and changing ourselves, and through that we'll make ourselves, each of us, we will make ourselves a dwelling place for Hashem, a holy temple and a place of a house that God, within us, God could call home, and God willing, through all of our actions together, will make this whole world God's home, and then bring about becoming a Mashiach.
Yeah, that's how the mitzvot mekarvot et biat HaMashiach.
Correct. And that's part of the mission. So I said before, is why is this not the reward? Because that's part of the goal, is to do a mitzvah and also to bring Mashiach.
See, there is a goal.
There's a goal. There's a goal for everything. So each of us have a tremendous, God loves us, Hashem loves us, we have a tremendous amount of beautiful things to recognize how God loves each and every single one of us, and we should all try to grow in all of our actions, to also to become and each act that we do, recognize it changes us and it changes the world.
Rabbi, quick question about intention for doing mitzvah.
Yeah.
For example, someone yesterday in our neighborhood group asked for help with his car because if someone have cable to, so straight away I said, Paul said yes, the cable. I messaged this person, yes, with pleasure we come and help you. Next day, because he said it's not urgent. And then he replied and he said, thank you very much, but another neighbor already helped us. So we didn't do the action of helping, which is mitzvah, I guess, Adam lechavero. But do we still earn the mitzvah on it? Because we didn't take the action, we didn't go and help him, but we intended to do it, and we would have done it.
Right.
If we would do it if we had the chance. So
That's
what
good.
about this case? Is it still mitzvah?
So that's good. So I would say there's two things. There's two ways to look at it, right? If someone had, hear me out to the end.
Yeah, okay.
If someone had intent to give someone £1 million, and someone else, and practically he didn't give the person. Someone else gave the intent to give £50, and he gave. Who did better?
The one who actually gave, even though it was much less. But
Even though you had a tremendous amount of intention, but it's the action that made a difference. So the
We
action
did
is
act,
important.
we did act.
I said, hear me out.
Sorry,
I said, hear me out.
What you finished, yeah.
But our sages tell us that if a person doesn't really have the intention to do, and it didn't, for some reason they couldn't do it, but they had intention to do it, Hashem considers it as if they did it.
But why does that not work then the other way around? If someone has evil intentions but then they don't carry it out and then they do good, they've still got evil intentions. Why does it work one way but not the other?
Because that God is kind and benevolent.
So in our case, because we did take action to contact.
We're not asking now is who you're gonna take as your neighbor or your housemate. We're asking is right now is how God looks at it.
Yeah.
And God is kind and benevolent.
So that evil person with evil intentions, so long as he acts good, he'll still go to heaven.
Even if it's somebody evil and they decide not to do evil, they've done
On the
good in a
contrary,
way. But that could be something that's their work.
That's their
to do.
struggle.
That's
And
their
on the
struggle.
contrary, amazing if they act and do good, despite on the inside they want to do evil. On the contrary, they were victor in their struggle, and that's God looks at it tremendously how the person overcame themselves. And each of us have our struggles. Each of us have and each of us have our struggles, which we are. Some parts of our life are a bigger struggle. Some parts of our life are a smaller struggle.
Okay, but you see, but because we took, for example, we took the action and we offered in depth and we really intend. There's no question. We do it unless but we tend to do it. So it is still counted as a deed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, sometimes you said, you're not keeping Shabbat, but even the fact that you're thinking, that even when you're driving, for a split second or 10 seconds, thinking I shouldn't be driving, or I wish I wasn't driving, or I'm driving. It's part of. I think it's all. Yeah, but it all matters. You have that the willingness to do something I think
I'm
that
trying not. It's not if I can keep turning on the light in one room and be alright with the natural light that comes from the window. I say no. I will not turn the light on.
It's
because-
amazing. So
but
start,
still-
and I would recommend to start doing small steps. Not everything is all comes at once. We should all try to grow. We shouldn't be sufficing whatever we are. We should all try to grow.
But it's counted the fact that
on each thing, on each level. Every time we don't do something wrong is a tremendous positive thing.
Try every week by the end of the month you won't be touching any of the lights.
Saying each thing we should do, we should try to be a very positive thing and try to grow and try to go with it.
God can read someone's
Knows that he knows our thoughts.
מחשבות לב.
He knows our thoughts.
Yes, so yeah, of course, so he does see those things. Interesting. And so
Yes.
Sonia.